Hi, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I want to go further on to reading a little bit about these commandments and a little bit about something that has really brought a lot of insight to me and something that I was never sure. I was always confused. I was always just, what does this actually truly mean? And when it comes down to the fourth commandment, it's something that in today's day and age, it's really hard to figure out how to be able to accomplish. It's really hard. This is one that I'm going to say that consistently, since especially finding out the new information about it and what's expected and what's not expected, that today I found out that this is the one commandment that I'm still consistently breaking week by week, month by month, and realizing that I need to make a change myself with some things that I'm doing, based on some new information that I have. And it's very fascinating because we're always a people of today of just go and get more done and work harder and work more, and that's how you're going to be able to have more, and that's how you're going to be able to gain more. And then you got to come to realize, the more that you keep getting, the more that you keep working so hard to get, what is it actually for? What is the reason behind it? What is it that you're actually looking for going more and driving more and working your 1,000-hour weeks so that you can be able to, what is it your end goal? Because if you just work yourself so hard to the point of just exhaustion all the time and you never have any sort of relief, what's the point to continue to keep doing what you're doing? And the Sabbath day is something that's very fascinating to me because it's something that really brings families closer together, brings people closer together, brings everyone closer together, so that you've had a whole week of working so hard to be able to do some things that now you're able to just relax with each other, share stories with each other, communicate with each other, learn more about each other, figure out where it is that you want to go with each other, and figure out what it is that you've been doing with each other. Something that nowadays, in the 2023 of June of, today's the 29th, we just don't seem to put such emphasis on wanting to communicate with each other, trying to figure out more about each other, trying to desire more about each other, trying to worry about what our other fellow human beings, our worries are, to figure out how to be able to get past it, be able to get through it. So something that in the book of Exodus, and I've come to realize this is also in the book of Deuteronomy, in the book of Exodus in the 20th chapter, down to the 8th verse. And I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to go back to clarify the clarification of what it is that I was looking for and trying to figure out exactly what it is that we should be doing, because God is in everything that you're questioning. Your answer is in here. Any question you have, you're like, I don't understand this, the answer's in here. You're starting to read something and you're like, well, how do I follow this, and what are the guidelines with this? The answer's in here. Well, where should I be going? How should I be doing it? The answer is in here. You just have to ask and pray about it, and it's going to come to you. And it's literally written in here for you to be able to have that answer that you're looking for. Something that, I don't know, it's just very fascinating to me. When I read this verse, it says, this is the fourth commandment. It's interesting that this is a commandment. The same with coming soon, of not murdering and not stealing. This is also a commandment that, say, is on equal stance with stuff like that. So something that we should be very, very careful of making sure that we are doing what it is it's saying. And in reality, for me today, right now, reading this, and I know a lot of people that hear this are like, well, what's the point of that? What does that even matter? And it's something that I'm asking for that question. I'm asking for that information. I'm asking for that wisdom. Because the way that I see the world today and how we do things today, it does seem like this is just pointless. What the heck does it even matter? And it says, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Yep, that's where we stop for that commandment there. And it's very fascinating because I was just questioning, what exactly does that mean? And God gives us the exact meaning of what that is, and exactly how it is that we should be doing this. So as far as the whys, I'll get back to you on the whys. But as far as the how we do's, it's straight here says it when the Moses and his people left Egypt and they didn't have any food, and they were scared. They were the main term that God likes using with these people is, y'all some stiff-necked people. We're just some people that are just never satisfied. We're never happy. Nothing's ever good enough. It's something that when I hear that and read that, and I know that, and I see that, and I believe that, because that's what I see when I see people. That when I see my own self, I don't give a crap about even anybody else for that moment of thinking that when I'm reading this. It's just saying to my own self. When someone says to me, hey, Anthony, how about you? You go over here and do this, and this is what's going to be best for you. And it is the best for me. And I'm just like, I'm just grumbling, complaining, showing no sort of any sort of compassion or understanding on why it is and why that. Just me just grumbling and just disagreeing and just not caring. Even though I can see the success right in my face, I'm still, I don't know. It's just very fascinating that this is just, it's not even just me, my own self, when I do see that, but I do see that amongst a whole lot of people out here, that we have the ease of access and we're still grumbling. We have everything that we want and we're still grumbling. We have more than we could ever even desire and we're still grumbling. It's just who we are, and this is fascinating. That's how God talks about us in a way, that he says that we're some very stiff-necked people, and not that we can't change and can't come into being something better and something greater. It's just who we are. It's just what we're all about. It's why we struggle in reality. Because every single chance that we get to try to do something on our own without God, we just start to go into just absolute destruction mode. It's just absolute, just mass chaos is where it is that we just continue to keep going. But when we start to pay attention to God and we start to believe Him, we start to trust Him, we realize like, wow, you actually did follow through. Wow, you actually did give us what we needed. Wow, you actually did be able to provide what we thought that we weren't going to be able to have. Wow, you actually did just miraculously make stuff appear when it's just like, how? There's nothing out here, but yet you gave us food. There's nothing out here, but yet you gave us water. There's nothing out here, but yet you gave us shelter. There's nothing out here, but yet you continue to keep on living. Let's keep on going. There's nothing out here, but yet you keep guiding us to keep on going in the direction that we need to keep on going to. It's just super fascinating. But when it comes down to, because I was just questioning what exactly is the Sabbath day and what exactly should we be doing and should we try to refrain from doing? And it's something that I'm going to say that I know that I've been not doing the best with, that it's interesting, because when they were hungry, this is when the situation of the manna and the quail. And this is in the Exodus of the 16th chapter. It's pretty much all just in the 16th chapter, but it goes continuing on all the way up to the commandments, and then it just continues on further and further into this Bible that just really talks about how much we like to grumble and complain about absolutely everything. And here is, they were hungry. Of course you're hungry. You're out in some lands, you don't know where to go. But it's fascinating because they weren't eating their animals. It's almost like they had they weren't allowed to do such a thing, or they didn't want to do such a thing, where they're trying to hold on to their animals and they didn't eat them. But they were begging for some food, and the manna came, and the manna turns into, they can make it into, what they call it, like some toast, some honey toast, and some other things that is very interesting for them to be able to eat. But it would fall down at nighttime, basically. In the morning time, they'd be able to see it. And in the morning time, they'd be able to go out and they'd be able to collect it. And God commanded them, do not take more than what you need today. And then what's the first thing that we do as a people? Some go out there and take a little, some take a lot, and they had what they needed. But some decided, I'm going to go and try to take extra and try to store it. And it turns into just filth, maggots, stanks, nastiness. And then God's just still looking at us like, man, when are y'all just going to finally just listen and just make your life of ease? That why you can continuously keep doing what it is that I'm telling you not to do. It's just, it's very fascinating, because God is just, he's so slow to anger. But he does show some anger that he does have. And in reality, he has conversation with Moses on what it is that he wants to do to the people. But then Moses is like, you know what? I'll take care of them. I don't want you to take care of them, but I'll take care of them. It's super fascinating of how this dialogue really starts to go between God and Moses, because God is just like, he's just like, I told y'all what to do. Y'all go ahead and do it. And then he just try to do the extra. You try to do the most. You try to like overdo it. It's like, why are you trying to overdo and overbe and try to make happen what God is able to make happen? Why are you trying to think that you're going to be better and know more and be able to have more than what God is able to be able to give you? Why is it that you're out there trying to do so much? It's just the concept that I just continuously keep seeing with this, that I just know that's very fascinating, because that's just how we are as human beings. That we're just always, I need more, I got to get more, I got to have more, I got to store up more, I got to put more over here. We just always are doing that, as opposed to just realizing, hey, you're good to go. Pump the brakes a moment. You're good to go. Everything's going to be fine. And the harder and harder and harder that you try and get more, the more that you're going to realize it's going to turn into maggots and filth and disgust. That the extra that you had is pointless, meaningless, worthless. And so the sun melts it away when it comes on the 6th day. This is where he tells the people on the 6th day to gather twice as much. This is the first time. He does say grab extra, but on the 6th day, you're going to grab twice as much. You're going to grab the extra. You're going to grab the more. Why? Because you're going to need the more for tomorrow. on the 6th day. So on that 7th day, you're going to be able to have that more, that extra. And then they realized that they grabbed the extra, they grabbed twice as much. They went to sleep, they woke up, and they're like, oh, it's still fresh, it's still good to go. But on all the other days, it doesn't quite work that way. But on this day, it does. And then he also does say here, so we're just Exodus 16, 21st chapter. Each morning, everyone gathered as much as they needed, and when the sun grew hot, it melted away. On the 22nd chapter, it says, on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much, 2 orms. That's a measure, a unit for them. So say like us, 2 platefuls for each person. And the leaders of the community came and reported this to Moses. And he said to them, what is it that my Lord commanded? Tomorrow there will be the Sabbath day of rest, a holy day for the Lord. So bake what you can bake and boil what you can boil. Save whatever is left and keep it till morning. So they saved it until morning as Moses commanded, and it did not stink or get maggots on it. Eat it today, Moses said, because today is the Sabbath day to the Lord. You will not find any of it on the ground today. 6 days you gather it, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will not be any. And it's fascinating because this is the concept of doing no work and doing no nothing on the Sabbath day, because he doesn't even want you to cook. He wants you to pre-cook what is it you're going to already eat on the Sabbath day. So on the 7th day, we're not cooking. We're not doing any of that. And it's just fascinating because this is just how we are as human beings right here. On the 27th verse, it goes, nevertheless, some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather it, but they found none. Then the Lord said to Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commands and my instructions? This is just what we do. He says to grab the double, and everything is good to go. And then for the first time, they realized that the extra they stored didn't rot, didn't go to filth. And then the people are still like, I still want to go and try to find some more anyways. I still want to go out and try to find more. And it's very fascinating that even though they saw a difference, they saw a miracle, they saw a change within what was going on and what was instructed, they still had it in them to just, I'm still going to get more, I'm still going to do more, I'm still going to make it happen. It's very fascinating. This is what we continue to keep doing. Even though you have everything that you need, you're still out there trying to just find more. And for what? For what reason? And that's the biggest thing that I feel like I would just want to question a whole lot of people out here. Is you have what you need. Why are you trying so hard to try to force yourself to be able to get more when you're good to go? When everything is already fine, when everything is settled, and when everything is just in abundance for you already. Why is it that you're trying so hard to continue to keep going out there and just forcing yourself? And that's why on the 7th day, to keep the bread for 2 days, everyone who stayed there on the 7th day, do not, so this is the part for me that I had to extra read. And when it comes down to the 29th verse in the Exodus to the 16th, bear in mind that the Lord has given you the Sabbath, that is why on the 6th day he gives you bread for 2 days. Everyone is to stay where they are on the 7th day. No one is to go out. So the people rested on the 7th day. And that's the part right there that just really explains a whole lot about what it is that we should be doing and focusing upon on the Sabbath day. That no, we're not going out. It's not a day of rest that you go out shopping. It's not a day of rest that you, for me, go out to the lake and go for a walk. It's not a day of rest for me to move my animals where I've been moving them. It's not a day of rest for me to be able to sit here and try to cook this just fantastic meal for me to be able to eat. It's a day to do in literally nothing but just pray and give thanks to God for being able to allow us to continue to have another week, to continue to have us to be able to move forward, and to continue to have us be able to just really reflect upon what it is that we've been able to do and where it is we've been able to be able to make sure that we can continue to keep on going where it is that we should be going. And sometimes we don't stop and think about what it is that we've been doing. And if we don't do that, we're going to keep on going and having these same cycles over and over and over of just going absolutely nowhere. But we have to have a time that we just stop and just say, hey, what did we do last week? Where did we go? What made happen? Where did God lead us last week? What's been going on with us? And be able to make a decision, do I want to stay with that, or do I want to make a change here to be able to move into something greater or something better? A lot of times we're just going. And then we realize, we look back, it's 50 years later, and we're just like, where was I going to? What was I doing? What did I gain? What did I get? What came from this? What is anything of this? And we never had a time that we just stopped and just had a hard reflection on where it is and what God is looking for us to do. And when you just stop and you slow down and you relax and you listen and you pray and you ask and you try to figure out more and you study God's words more. You study the stories of what's going on, and how we are, and what we are all about. When we start to figure out more about why we do what we do, you're going to start to really have a change in your heart of where it is that you want to move forward with, and where it is that you want to go, and what it is that you want to keep on pursuing, and what it is that you want to start staying away from. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Oreo. Sorry, he far gone out there. But something that's just super fascinating to me is I'm going to say the why. Why is it that we work 6 and take that day off? And why is it that that's a commandment that we are forced to have to do? You've been out there eating my chicken, homie. Get down. I knew you was doing that. But why is it that we have to do this? And why is it, like I said, a commandment that, Oreo, get down. Why is it a commandment that we're out here to have to do the same way as it is to understand that God is only God, understand that we are to honor our parents, understand that we are not to steal, understand that we're not to murder. Putting murder and putting the Sabbath day in the same list together, and in reality putting them as a equal type list, it makes you really wonder, like, why is this so important? Like, what is it? What is the seriousness that's behind this? And it's super fascinating because it puts questions upon inside of me that make me want to read more, figure out more, and just learn more. And those are the questions that I would hope, Oreo, all done. Get down. Those are the questions that I would hope that, you good, Johnny, that more people would want to sit here and figure out and start asking. That when you start to get further and further and further into this, you start to really just get in you to just, why is this going on? Why is that happening? And it kind of just starts the wheels going of, let's go ahead and start reading this more. Let's start learning more. Let's start getting more into this. Let's start digging deep more with this to try to figure out what exactly is going on. And then when you start to find the answers, that's where things really start to get really exciting. You start finding answers to the questions that you have. You're not just asking a question and the teacher looks at you and just says, yeah, no, I don't know, and who knows, and this is my opinion, and this and that, as opposed to them being able to give you a straight up direct answer. And that's what the Bible is able to do for us. It's able to give us a straight up direct answer of what it is that we're looking for and what it is that we're seeking. So for me to question what it is about it, I guarantee you I'm going to find the answers to that and be able to come back and be able to say it, communicate it to you if you don't know. And the same way that you would want to just question your own self, like, why is that day so powerful? Why is it that we do that? Why is it that we should be moving forward with that? And it's something that in reality, not for me to question, but to make sure that I do. And then when I start doing, that's where I realize the true main success really starts happening for me. The true success happens when I start doing it, as opposed to just trying to reject it and trying to just, who knows about it. I realize that something happens, and then when I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. When I was in the middle of drinking too much, when I stopped it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense why I shouldn't do that. When I was smoking too much, I realized, oh, okay, that's why I don't do that, because it was slowing me down here, and I thought it was helping me. When it's telling me to stay away from certain places, certain situations, and certain things, I just have to say to myself, hold on one second. Get down. I just have to say to myself, why is it that I have to do that? And then I stop doing it, and then I realize, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is where I'm at. This is being able to help me being able to get into a better place because of stop doing that and getting away from things like that. So it's very fascinating that a lot of times I don't get it until I'm in the middle of doing it. I don't get it until I really put in that action and just say, okay, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. Okay, I'm not supposed to steal. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then I start to see the progressions of things that start to get better in my life. Okay, I'm not supposed to be lying anymore. Okay, I stop. And then I start to see, like, that's a huge one. That I'm surprised that that's not a commandment. But in reality, I believe the next one coming up is honor your mother and father. That is kind of in the same realm with it. But when you stop doing certain things, you start to realize, like, wow, your life starts to get easier and better and more transparent is the best way I can put it. That some things are going to happen that are going to be, say, out of your control. Like right here, right now, my dog. He clearly just killed a baby chicken. He clearly was out there eating it. He clearly is here acting like he's just I did the best thing on the planet, even though that he did something wrong. But he's trying to be cute to try to get away from realizing that he did something that he shouldn't have done. But at the same time, it's a matter of me having a good understanding of knowing whys and whats and wheres, of realizing he's a dog. He's a dog that chases animals. He's a dog that moves animals. He's a dog that does certain things that other animals don't do. So he's a dog that's going to be able to be deserving of being able to do what it is that he's able to do and be able to be satisfied with what it is that he's going to be able to have. That's something that we as human beings need to also realize with ourselves and just really recognize that A lot of times we're doing some stuff that we shouldn't be doing that is slowing you down from being able to have what it is that you should be able to have, being able to do what it is that you should be able to do, that you're doing some things that are actually really, really hindering you, that are really, really just sabotaging you, that are really, really just absolutely damaging you. And it's, ooh, a heron. That's weird for here. He on a mission. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on nowadays. Like especially these bugs, these canidids. Last year and the years before, they didn't buzz until nighttime. Now they buzz 24/7. And there's just random birds that are just always flying and flocking all by themselves around. And the darkness is different today than the darkness of before, and the lightness is different. The sun is super hot. And everything grows much differently, and there's new different things that are growing this year that I've never seen before that are very, very fascinating. And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on nowadays that I got a lot of questions, and I'm just wondering exactly what it is that's happening out here. And it just puts a lot in me to just keep having these questions, and the more that I start to be outside and do what it is that I do, the more I start to be able to see stuff like that, as opposed to just being programmed into realizing that everything is the same. Same way that I can see the moon right there right now, that all day, and all day right there. And it's fascinating what science is saying to me about what that moon is, that it's a reflection of this and this and that. But I'm just like, how can I see it in the middle of the day? I don't know. I got way off tangent right there, because it's just a fascinating thing of listening to what people are saying to get you away from doing what it is that you should be doing from the Word of God. And that's where I'm going to say is everything starts to get challenging. It just deviates you from having a good understanding of knowing what it is that you should do. Because someone's going to say to you, this is the way it is, and this is going to be able to bring you your freedom. As opposed to like realizing what it is that God has to say about that situation, and then realizing that actually that isn't going to be able to bring me my joy. That isn't being able to bring me my peace. If I do this, I will be able to have my peace. I will be able to have my joy. So it's very interesting of what's being said and what's being shown, as opposed to what it actually is and what is actually happening and what is actually going down. That sometimes we think what is disastrous is actually something that's going to help us. Sometimes we think the things that are going to help us are the actual things that we should, Johnny, come here. That we should be doing our best to try and figure out how to be able to, you can go eat it. You can eat it. No, come here. Get down. You get down. I don't know what's going on right now. Got a lot of complications, and that's life. That's farm life. That's real life. That's all life. But the main thing that I do know is you stay calm, you stay patient, you stay willing to be able to learn, you stay willing to be able to accept and be able to see the changes that need to come, realizing that what it is that you've been doing, hey, Johnny, get down. To see what it is that you've been doing hasn't been the right way. And sometimes when you start to see these complications and these hard times and these hard things going on in your life, it's because there's something going on that you should probably change and probably get away from. Even if you don't understand the reasons on why up front, why you need to have that change and why you need to do such a thing, just do it and then see what happens and see where your life starts to go. And that's something for me to just really get super inspired, super excited about, realizing a new change that's going to be happening in my life again, of doing something that you should see. What's going to happen when I do stick forward and stick firm with doing what it is that I know that I should be doing, even though I question it of who cares and why. It's not for me to question of who cares and why. It's for me to have a good understanding of knowing that it's there for a reason, it's there for a purpose, and that purpose is to help me, it's not to hurt me. That purpose is to get me out of the grumbling and out of the struggling and get me into somewhere where I don't have to worry about that anymore. And with that, I just want to say thank you. I would say thank you for a very interesting day, a very interesting talk right now to be able to do what it is that I do, of realizing that there's been some mass chaos going on with my animals out here, and yet I'm still able to just continue to keep on going and continue to keep on doing what it is I need to do. And a lot of times there's going to always be something in the background that's going on that is just not ideal. It's just not to likings. It's actually a little devastating in a way. But you got to realize that you got to keep on moving forward through that regardless. You still got to keep on getting stuff done. You still got to be able to get to the point that you're able to just still fulfill what it is that you have to do, and you have no choice but to do in reality. And that's where, for me, the commandments really come into heart to me, that I'm just so thankful for them, because they give me a simple guideline of what to do to be able to make sure that I'm going to be able to have a nice, free and clear and healthy and happy life on this planet. And not happy in a way that I'm just going to always be smiling all day and everything is always so great. No, a happy way that when challenging things do come, I have ways to be able to get through it and be able to get past it and be able to get by it. I don't have to sit here and sulk in my misery. I don't have to sit here and think that the whole world is up against me, when in reality, I'm only against my own self in this world. The more and more that I try to reject and try to run away, the more and more that I'm going to have more and more problems, as opposed to just going in it and dealing with the problems and being straight into the problems, as opposed to trying to run from them. Because you're going to run from the problems, and the problem's going to come up to you and keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. The problem's going to come to you when you run at it, but you're going to be able to hit that problem and get past it. Hit that problem and get past it and keep on going forward. And that's where, for me, I have a good understanding of knowing what this Bible is all about, to be able to teach me how to be able to get to a problem, not run away from it, not be scared of it, but push straight through it and get right past it, so that I can continue to keep on living in a life out here without having to be in fear, without having to be in disgust, without having to be in lack, without having to be in any sort of toxicity of what it is that's in my mindset, with being able to understand who I am, what I'm capable of, and what I'm going to continue to keep on being capable of. That's something that I'm just so thankful for. And God, you really just bring something great inside of me to be able to allow me to keep on doing what it is that I'm doing. You keep on like hitting me good with giving me the ideas and inspirations of where to read, what to read, how to read, what to do, where to go, how to do it. And then every time I have a question, it's like you just literally, you don't give me days, weeks, and years anymore. You just hit me with that answer right away. And I would hope to soon enough be able to get those answers almost on an instantaneous way, the same way that Moses was able to speak and be able to have communication with you. That when he had questions and the people had questions, he said, hold on. And he would just step off and then come back and say, okay, this is what the answer is. It's so powerful. It's such an amazing thing to be able to have and be able to live by and be able to understand. But it's not going to be there if you're doing everything away from what God is all about. That he says we're very stiff-necked people. We're very in our feelings type people. We're very just complicated, complex people. We're very just I want to do it my way type people. We're very just like I see the success, but I still want to try it anyways to just whatever. Who knows even why? It's just who we are. And the more and more we get away from that, the more and more we just get closer and closer to having a good understanding of knowing who Jesus is and what he's all about. I'm telling you, the simpler and simpler your life is going to be able to become. I just want to say thank you for an absolutely interesting day, to be able to do some very fantastic reading, to be able to get a better understanding of knowing who God and what God is all about. And not even just for my own self, but for me to be able to get the education and the knowledge so that I can be able to speak it to someone else. Because I know for a fact that the way that I see the world and have been in this world and have to deal with this world is different than every single other person. And that's the beauty behind every single person that I feel like stands up and starts to speak the word of God, because they start to be able to share experience with you that it is different. And we all have a little bit of a difference, but we all have a super similarity in the middle of the core of everything that's going on. And it's very fascinating to be able to have multiple people. And then today, being able to stand up to have as many people as possible talking this Bible and being able to speak about it and be able to go through it. Because there's going to be one for every person out there. That I don't speak for everybody, and not everybody understands what it is that I'm saying. But the next person, you're going to be able to speak to somebody. You're going to be able to speak to somebody. You're going to be able to speak to somebody. You're going to be able to speak to somebody. And then when we all just collectively are able to speak this Bible to people and start to get them to understand of knowing who Jesus is and what he's all about and what he's able to offer to you, you're only going to be able to see a better world on this planet. I just guarantee you that the more people actually pay closer attention to it, the more that we're going to get out of so much of the hate that we're in, the more we're going to get out of so much of the jealousy and the rage that we're in. Thank you.